Tsai Ing-wen made history multiple times on her way to the presidency. She was the first woman to chair a major political party, the first female presidential candidate, and the first ever woman to win Taiwan's highest seat of office. And now she ends her 8 years with a performance evaluation of 60%, according to one pollster. It may not sound that high, but it's an unprecedented rating, one that far exceeds her predecessors.
There's a comparison with the end of the Ma administration and the end of the Chen administration. Now, there were different pollsters who used slightly different methodology, but the difference between their final approval ratings and hers is night and day.
But getting to where Tsai is today was a bumpy ride. Prior to taking office, she had failed presidential and mayoral bids. Tsai first rose to prominence when she was tapped as a trade negotiator for Taiwan at the World Trade Organization. She was valued for her academic background in global trade, having a PhD from the London School of Economics. Tsai then became an aide to President Lee Teng-hui. Many scholars say she helped design Lee's stance on Taiwan's relations with China.
She was widely credited with being the prime thinker behind the special state-to-state statements that President Lee Teng-hui made at the time.
Tsai had no formal political affiliation until 2004 when she joined the Democratic Progressive Party. She served briefly as a legislator for the party before taking the job of vice premier.
I think in a lot of people's minds, she was kind of considered one of, but in the DPP, I think they kind of thought of her as one of us.
4 years after joining the party, Tsai ran for party chair. Her decision came while the DPP was fractured by political infighting, which hurt the party's popularity. She beat out party heavyweights because she did not have connections to any faction.
I think a lot of the spectacular rise of Tsai can be attributed to a power vacuum in the DPP. A lot of the heavyweights in the DPP have been around for much longer. People are kind of tired of seeing their faces.
Tsai ultimately held 3 separate stints as the DPP's chair.
She unified the party. She unified the factions. She was a stable, strong hand when she controlled the party.
In 2012, Tsai ran for president against then-incumbent Ma Ying-jeou of the China-friendly Kuomintang, but lost.
If you watch the debate at the time, Ma Ying-jeou came across as very presidential, very much in control. And she kind of looked like a student doing a presentation.
Tides changed in 2014 when a student-led movement broke out protesting the Kuomintang-led legislature's review of a trade agreement with China.
In the years leading up to the Sunflower Movement and so forth, she really did attract young people because of her progressive kind of political stances.
Tsai won Taiwan's 2016 presidential election, beating her KMT opponent Eric Zhu by a 25% margin. Despite a decisive first victory, her road to re-election in 2020 hit several setbacks. First, she was challenged for her party's nomination by current Vice President and President-elect Lai Ching-te.
He kind of stabbed her in the back as he promised he wouldn't challenge her.
Early on in her re-election bid, she also trailed considerably behind her main opponent, the KMT's Han Kuo-yu.
A lot of the reasons for her low approval rating was that she was not campaigning. She was busy being the president. So when she finally got out on the campaign trail and made her case, and she was good at it.
She ultimately prevailed and won 2020 in a landslide victory with a historic 8.17 million votes. Over her 8 years, Tsai oversaw major milestones in Taiwan, including pension reform, same-sex marriage legislation, navigating COVID, and managing relations with an increasingly aggressive China. She's credited with significantly raising Taiwan's international profile.
Taiwan has really gone from a place of comparative obscurity at the start of her term to one now that is hotly discussed.
But her leadership still had its controversies, failing to meet targets she campaigned on.
She campaigned on 3% of GDP on military spending all the way back in 2015. It's about 2.5% now. She campaigned on getting the minimum wage up to $30,000. It's still 27,000 something.
Come May 20th, Tsai will hand the torch over to her deputy, successor, and once rival, Lai Ching-te. Her time as president will come to an end, leaving behind a story of remarkable political success, one which Lai will have to work hard to match. James Lin and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.